guys, welcome to today's video. Make sure you visit podcastformarketers.com for more information. Over there, I have a really kick-ass course on how you can make at least a few grand a month on simple reoccurring revenue, right? And that's called Freedom Funnels. And make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel, man. I'm put out videos every day, so you don't want to miss what I put up, because I put out some pretty kick-ass content. And man, I always want you guys to comment below, man. I absolutely love all the comments you guys bring. Let me know what you're thinking. If you have any questions, I'm always in the comment section. I really love the community. Let's get into the video. All right, guys. So, it's what it says in the title. It's how to search for your audience insights interest. Number one is if you have data already, a lookalike audience is much better than going with this cold shit. That's the number one thing that I noticed with Facebook, that people are always like thinking that this searching for interest-based targeting is what Facebook is all about. It is not. Finding a audience that is already, warm and that knows you is the better deal. And there's so many different ways on doing that. And yesterday we talked about one of those, or 2 days ago, we talked about one of those where we had a product that we put with an influencer. And that product may have resonated out of his 15 million influencers, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people really liked that post and really engaged with that post. Then that would be a lookalike audience of that would be better than this. Okay. I believe it was Blake Toves yesterday. If you don't know who Blake is, you need to go to my group, funnelhackerpro.com. Go check it out. And he posted up on his personal profile, or his business personal profile, about how he sent out a Tony Robbins video to, I think something like 8,000 or 10,000 people or something like that for $20. And people interacted with that video. People shared that video. That's data. So that people love Tony Robbins or whatever, but people that actually interacted with the video and people actually that shared that video are better than just blanket targeting people that like Tony Robbins, because not everybody is going to be as excited as the people that actually interacted with that video. So now what you do is make a lookalike audience of that. But if you just have to do this type of research, I'm in Connect Explorer. This is a tool that I use, right? And so I ran Amy Porterfield and I did a deep dive research. Don't panic. I know you guys don't have this tool, and I'm not telling you to buy this tool, but I wanted to show you that I did find some deeper results than you normally find, right? So I saw this Marie Smith. That was interesting. And then there was another guy in here that I had never heard of before. His name is over here. It is Darren Hardy, which I never saw those names before. And I wanted to show you, first of all, once you do your research, come over here and look in Facebook to make sure that you can target them. But basically, once you go in Audience Insights, right, and you run, let's just say, Amy Porterfield, you're going to find that Marie Smith, but you might not find that Darren Hardy. And then I found this Ray Higdon down here at the bottom as well that wasn't recommended. So your first line of attack is to go into Audience Insights, look at the affinity of people that like those people, come over here and run the name over here as well, right? So you run Amy Porterfield. Amy Porterfield, right? And then obviously they're going to give you a bunch of suggestions here of other people that might be the same, right? And so you notice that that girl's name and that guy's name didn't show up. Well, there she is, Marie Smith at the end, right? So what you want to do is you want to take all of these names that Facebook is suggesting, put them on a spreadsheet, go back to Audience Insight and start to go down the rabbit hole, okay? And you put in Amy Porterfield's name, and then you take that name out, and then you put in that Darren Hardy name, okay? And you want to make sure that the affinity is super high. If you start having a low affinity, then you don't want to use that. Now, here's the next thing. You're going to start finding more names. So what you do then is actually go, you want to find more interest, is what I did was I went to Amy Porterfield's page, and then I said pages liked by this page, okay? And then I went inside here and I started looking to see who could be, relevant. So this rise to the top would be somebody I would search to see maybe, this Web 123 is just a business. Probably not, right? The Blog Squad, social media agency, probably not, right? But this Jane Franklin, Franklin, which is an entrepreneur, may be an interest. But these blue check marks, we already know Gary V is an interest, right? So these blue check marks mean, well, maybe we might want to see, these are people with a decent following or whatever, right? The Fast Company, another one. But now we're starting to look. Now, who's this pro blogger? This Carrie Wilkerson. I never heard of this person at all. Maybe you guys have, but I haven't. So the first thing I would do is just come over here and first of all, see if you can target her. Before you do any research on somebody, always see if it's targeted. So she is targetable, but she only has 2,200 people. So that's a no. Okay, so then you go back and you start looking. So I went and looked through all of these pages to see who liked. And there's this Darren Hardy dude, right? So I'm like, all right, so I don't know who this dude is, but I went and looked, and he's a motivational type dude, and he's about being an entrepreneur and this and that, and he's got 500,000 people. I'm like, that would be cool. Now, there's a couple of good things about this. First of all, everybody targets Russell Brunson. They target Gary V. They target Ty Lopez or whatever. But who likes this guy? We don't know, but there's 230,000 people that we can find out about, which is cool. So that's an interest that you can use. And then this Marie Smith, she was also in there. But how do you go down the rabbit hole? Well, they've got pages that they like as well, right? And so, there's old Jim Rohn. You know who he is, right? So you definitely can grab that. Start doing your research, right? But don't just come over here and shove it in here either. Make sure you come back to the audience insights, right? And let's just take Amy Porterfield out of here and throw in Jim Rohn, right? And see what names pop up then. Well, here's that Darren Hardy dude, right? So we know, okay, that's cool. Here's Ray Higdon. Now we're starting to see these names that are kind of popping up the same, and we're starting to see, okay, well, this Ray Higdon dude, let's go over here and let's see who he is. He's got a couple 100,000 people. Let's look and see who he has and who he follows. Who's this Jack Canfield? I've heard that name before, right? Mike Dillard. We know who that is. So now you start looking at things. You say, okay, well, let's start targeting other people. Let's start finding other people that are in the niche that maybe, I keep seeing Ron Paul, let's find other people that may be in the niche that everybody else isn't targeting, but they're very, very relevant. This is going to do two things. First of all, you're going to get higher click-through rates, right? Second of all, you're going to get low ad cost because you're relevant, you're super relevant. But also, there's nobody else bidding on the pages. Like, everybody's going to go for this Robert Kiyosaki, right? Kiyosaki, yeah, that dude, right? Everybody's going to bid on him, but they might not bid for this Ray Higdon dude, or maybe they do, but who knows? All you have to do is give it a try. So get like 30 of these lined up, and this is what you do. You go from the suggestions and audience insights, make sure that they're targetable, then go to their Facebook pages and see who they like, okay? Take those names, make sure they're targetable, put them in audience insights, and see who else pops up. Take those names, look at what you got going on over here on their pages, search them out. And what's going to happen is you do all three of these, and you're going to put all of these inside of your spreadsheet. you're going to see similar names. When you start to see 4 and 5 of these smaller names all on the spreadsheet 4 or 5 different times, you'll know that you're starting to get really targeted, right? And so then if it were me, I would try to find 10 people that are like Amy Porterfield, 10 of these Darren Hardys and Marie Smiths, and these people here, these smaller interest-based targets. And I would really I would almost flex target these if I could, to where I had maybe some audiences of 100,000 to 200,000 people, and start sending out some tests to see just how relevant the audience is. Or maybe I would stack them. Maybe I would. I don't do that type of thing, but maybe I would try to stack, right? And see how it comes out. I wouldn't, but I'm saying try it, test everything. But that's how you try to get really targeted with messing with Facebook. And you can use the audience insights, but don't just rely on this solely. Start going to the pages and looking at who likes these pages. When you really want to get slick, start taking these things and looking at their books that they have on Amazon and see what Amazon says. People that bought this also bought that. Start doing that type of thing. Look in the reviews and see, well, I like this book, but I really like this book by this other person, somebody else you didn't know who it was. Start really getting to your research, folks. Research is a lot of work, but that's the point. And if I had to say, before you started using interest-based targeting, how much research did you do? Excuse me. Excuse me, folks. If I had to like put a time period on it, I would say probably a week, 3 days to a week of really digging in and finding every small little interest-based, people that have a high affinity to liking. Amy Porterfield will definitely like this Marie Smith, or they'll definitely like this other person. And look at the actual demographics, right? Because this is really important as well. So here's another step that I would go with, actually looking at the audience insights, right? So Jim Rohn, let's look at the demo. So we know it's 50% men and 50% women, and they are in the ages of pretty much 25 to 54, right around there. But let's take that out and let's put Amy Porterfield back in, and the women are going to jump up, right? 77% women, 23% men, and a majority of them are like right here between 35 and 44 years old. Again, you have a little overlap here, but here's the major. So that audience really isn't matched. I would be, if I were to do this, then I would look at this Marie Smith chick again, right? And let's see, women tend to have, they support themselves, right? They tend to, I resonate with this woman more than I do a man, right? So let's look and see. Again, 74% women. And look at this hike between 35 and 44. You're seeing, okay, the demographics are there. They're both women. They both have a majority of women that like their pages. Boom. That seems like a match to me, right? That right there is what I would be looking for. And if I wanted more of a 50-50, then I probably wouldn't be targeting these people at all, right? There are going to be some men there, clearly, right? There's 26% men, but the majority are women. And, okay, so let's just say you do target this. Maybe you don't target the Darren Hardy and this Ray Higdon in the same ad set, because you talk to women different than you talk to men, don't you? Right? So be smart with your interest-based targeting. Be smart with your ads, right? So now you know that, okay, so these two have 74% women, right? So you could pretty much only target women, and your ad could go, ladies, period, right? Which you couldn't do that with a 50-50 crowd with Jim Rohn, right? You'd have to be more like broad and talk to everybody. But you can call ladies out with these two audiences, and excluding men altogether, you're not missing much. Right? So now you understand what I mean by interest-based targeting and really dialing down and finding and doing the research using Google spreadsheets and then making sense. And then even going further, step further, and looking at the demographics and finding out. And even you could look at the locations of where they live at mostly, right? So you know that, a lot of them are going to be living in Orlando, Florida, the United States, and then San Diego, California, right? You know that a lot of them live there. So maybe you want to focus your ads there and see. Maybe there's a bigger population there. So, you can really, really start to look at the affinity of people, where they live at, and you can kind of figure out their habits, right? So really do research. I've noticed that a lot of people, and I was guilty of this first as well, don't do enough time doing your research with interest-based targeting, and you really need to dial it in and do at least a week's worth of research, and really find out, get your data points, and if you can afford a tool like Connect.io, even if it's just for 1 month, I think it's like $47, right? If you can afford this Connect Explore, it's really great, right? I'm not trying to pitch you on it because I'm not going to even leave a link for it. You can find it on your own, but or I'll leave a link, but it won't be an affiliate link. How's that? What you can do here is, first of all, you can look for audience-based search, and then you can search the page, but then you can come over here and say, explore that page, and that's what I did. When I explored that page and did a deep dive result on pages, it showed me what are the pages that she liked, and that's how I was able to find more interest right here, like this Darren Hardy. And this little dot here means that these people are not targetable on Facebook, right? So it does the work for you to say, hey, look, you can't target these people, so don't look for it. Coffee break.